Okay. Am I back? I think I'm back. Sorry, everybody. Great. So, what we're doing today is I know that there's at least three of you out there that are checking out what we're doing. Thanks so much for joining me. And we are going to take advantage of this hot Friday afternoon to actually unpack some of the things that we're talking about inside Stitch Media, which is just all the different decisions that need to get made to launch an independent game. So, right now, Terrorarium is in early access, and this is a little peek under the hood here on what Steamworks looks like. Steamworks is the internal system for Steam games, and it's telling me maybe I'm buffering a little bit. But anyway, the uh, the purpose of this is that we're gonna talk about how to set up our page on Steam. I'm gonna critique some of the things that I think we're doing well and some things that we're not doing so well, and talk about a bit of a wish list about what I wish we could be working on if we had unlimited time and budget, which we do not have, and so I will just dive into it. What I wanted to talk about was that the terrarium that you're seeing in the early access right now is dramatically different from the game that we are launching on July 28th. We have been working a ton to get a bunch of things done in the game and improved and just tighten up so many of the places that you've given us feedback. And so there's going to be some times where I'm actually showing some of the new footage from the new game, but it's important for me to mention that we are still under embargo. So as I'm live streaming this, I'm going to be very careful about what pieces I try to show. But let's dive into it. So what I wanted to talk about first was actually I'm going to pull up some different things. So I'm going to talk about the trailer first, I think, because the trailer is something that I can walk through a bit of the process of what we've been doing. We started with a bunch. Where is that page? Here it is. There we go. So I'm opening up this section right here. So this is some of the early things that we did when we were playing around with the game and trying to come up with a trailer concept. And so I am going to show you some of the different ways that we get into it. What we tried to do at the beginning was Terrarium has two different portions. There's a story campaign and there's a maker mode. And what we were trying to do was to show the story campaign through the lens of like what it's like to try to make terrariums and constantly going back to the drawing board, so to speak. So this is some of the graphics and how they look. Okay. Then, so the idea you can see here is that, like, everyone has their own creative process, and it's always a bit of a mess. And so here we see, the way that people start off. They think they know that this is going to go in a straight line, but then they completely get redirected and they start over and they go back on their own work, and everything is constantly changing, and then finally the end happens. And sometimes that creative process can be pretty brutal, where it's just like, I don't want to think about this, and then, oh my gosh, it's due now. And so we kind of wanted to like play on that concept in our first iteration of the trailer. What I will tell you is that we didn't end up there at all, because when we started writing some of the script for this, we just realized that we had so much story that we really wanted to pack into this. We wanted to pack in that we have this like sort of feisty grandmother character who is, oh, and there's my doorbell. That's all right. Someone else will get that. And so we wanted to really like play up the idea that we keep losing to this fictional character Dolores in our game, and we wanted to say, this is the last time I'm going to win second place, and now I've got a new technique. And it got to the point where we were writing a script that, if you see here at the bottom, the way that we broke it out was we took some screenshots and we brainstormed some ideas, and then at the bottom we actually tried to write a script. And so, you know, this version was something that we read out loud, and then we said, oh my goodness, because you can see here, you know, and you, my little fungal friends, are going to help me. This is starting to become something that, when we actually broke down all the beats of the story, we were getting to like a 6-7 minute long ridiculous project when it came to the length of how long the trailers are. And things work like this, you know. This isn't an issue. This is just like, even this line, you know, you time it out. Every planet I explore has new dangers to face, new hazards to overcome. Drat! New hazards for you, you walking stink bombs. Out of my way. Like, you know, we're getting to like 8-9 second counts, and when we're talking about trailers, we're trying to get to almost a minute. We're trying to get in, we're trying to get out fast. And so it really came to the point where we were just realizing people are trying to figure out what this game is, and that's going to be a theme of today, that we were constantly trying to break down, like, what is this game about? And we kept coming back to getting into a lot of story and saying, okay, you know, we can be really wordy and set up all this like lore behind the game, but that's not the way that people decide to play games. And so, you know, some of these storyboards, you can see like, no, not like that, too much fires, blast it all. And so obviously I'm not the voice of the gardener, but what we have found is that having scratch tracks really can help a whole lot to sort of time things out and to make some decisions. And so we ended up going in another direction, another format, because, you know, when we got through 22 slides, and there are some, no, I don't have the links there. And so when we got through that version, we said, we've got to actually start fresh, and we've got to go through and make our final script. And so this really was a much different script process, and I think actually we should have put this into the original one, just because it really reveals, like, you don't want more than a page of text. And so the idea here was that on the left, we're describing what our shots are, and I feel like I probably need to make this bigger because I'm seeing on the screen that it's not quite legible. So you can tell me that that's easier to read. And and so you can see each shot is sort of just broken out in a quick description, and then this here, this whole column, is what we would do as the script. And so I'll take the hits for this idea to say that the big problem that we were having was that we needed to have something really, really punchy in our first 5 seconds, because we have been running video advertising, and we will get into this one in particular. Here it is. And so if you take a look, maybe you'll be able to hear this. This is an old trailer of ours, and what you can see here in our feed, and I feel like I need to maybe make this bigger too. Here. So as we watch our video, you're going to see what happens is that we play our launch trailer. Gosh, that seems loud. Okay. Here we go. Play our launch trailer. Boom. Do you see that drop off right there? So there's a lot happening in that video. There's a lot of jumping around, but I want to really go back here and look at what happens. This, I think everybody knows. If you've been on YouTube, I think everybody knows exactly what that means. That is the moment where the skip button becomes available to you. You know, the first 5 seconds happen, and then you get to choose whether or not you play skip. And almost every video that exists in the advertising world has this same drop. You know, it's not like this is like a horrible drop. It's just you've got to try to flatten this curve as much as possible, because at this moment you want to hold on to people for just another couple of seconds, right? Because you can see here there's 100%, and then 93% exist at this 5 second, and then as soon as we get to 6 seconds, we've already lost like 22%. Then we've lost what? We're getting down to half. I mean, by 8 seconds, we're down to half. And when you watch the video up above, I want you to sort of pay attention to what happens at the drop. Nothing happens at the drop. That's the problem. That's the problem here, is that, and I'll just mute this so that we can see it again, is that we get this sort of slow fade in, and then we get, oh, a towering Mugu and the gardener, and then we're gone. You know, we're just like, well, what was that, right? And so that became my obsession, was that I was on a real tear to say these first 5 seconds have to count for so much. And so all of this text that we had when we were thinking about like what the script of the trailer might be, and how she might go back to the drawing board and keep tearing up her designs and trying new things, it just wasn't gonna play, because we were just facing this cliff entirely. And so my obsession came to how quickly can we get to something that we've noticed catches people's attention. We've been dealing with Terrorarium now for a year in early access to show it off to people, and one of the things that always gets a smirk is putting together these two words, is saying murder garden. Murder garden is the least normal thing to say in the world, and people kind of twig to it when they say it. And it's the reason why when you want to visit our website, you visit murder.garden, which is our homepage for Terrorarium. And you can see right here, front and center, is our big launch trailer, the last trailer that we made, and the one that currently has so many problems. And I mean, I can critique this one for days. The one thing that it did incredibly well is that it used all footage that we've already created, so it was affordable for us to make. It gave us a new piece of content that was exactly what we needed at that time to get into an amazing promotional tool, and it's interesting enough. And we'll talk about how it's managed to convert some people to it. So when we had to go and try to think about a new trailer, my thoughts was, how few words can I say to get to Murder Garden and really stick the landing on that in the first 5 seconds. And so I started playing around, and you can see a bit of direction here. Is that, you know, our first versions, and I can scroll down to even see some of our first versions. I think here's the first version. Stupid second prize in gardening again. This time I'll build them a murder garden. Come along, you adorable mushrooms. And so that's where we started, and then we got down to here. Second place again? Gah! If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. And this is where the controversy kicked in immediately, because this is where I had to take a lot of creative license that I don't think anybody will really notice, but the idea is that she has always been making murder gardens. This is not a turn that's going to happen. This is a game about building terrariums and murder gardens. But if this line makes sense, then it made sense in the trailer. And so then what I did was I went along and I actually created my own scratch track because I wanted to know what this would look like. And so instead of just reading it out loud to you, and you can see here that we are translating it right now into French and Spanish, I'm going to show it to you. Where is that link? Here it is. Oh, I've got it here too. Okay. I think that's it.
Second.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so I'll bring this one off screen so that you guys don't need to see this one. And I will play this alongside with the script. Okay, follow along with me in this column here in the center. Here we go. Just making it so it doesn't blow my eardrums out.
Second place again? Gah! Second place again? Gah! If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work. Now, some of you might need to make some sacrifices. Ooh, like you two. Oh, and most of you. Oh, that wasn't part of the plan. Well, back to the drawing board. How about a little more lava this time and something with teeth at the corner? I've never felt so alive! Just look at this masterpiece we've created together.
So that's me. That's the best acting you're going to get from me today. And what we have then is the idea. So the premise of this is that very quickly we have this setup of the gardener wins second place, but she's going to do something new. She's going to create a murder garden, and she's going to use these mushroom pets of hers to make it happen. At this point, hopefully the joke is that we go along and we say, you know, the whole game is about killing many Mugu, and so when we are making this, thank you, Gaming Tiger, and we go along, you're going to hear a lot more variations on that exact script. But when we go along, the idea is that she doesn't have to make any sacrifices at all. She is actually just sacrificing tons and tons of Mugu. And so this whole like the middle section of the trailer is really just to make gags out of what we have seen with the gameplay, because every time we've watched people play this game, they always react with this just like scream when the Mugu get decimated. If something comes out and smashes all of your Mugu, you always just go like, oh no! And we were like, that's what we want to capture in this trailer, because that's the gameplay that's the most fun. So we're trying to play around with this version to make, like, the joke here is that some of the Mugu are going to be sacrificed, and then she starts showing us all the different ways that they're going to be sacrificed. And then she goes into maker mode. And so the idea is that this is going to be, all right, we need to redesign this, and we're going to quickly like show that maker mode exists and show that you can make your own levels. And then again, she's sort of tweaking it and saying the lava line. And then we just get into like how much joy people feel when they get sort of into this crazy destructive phase, and they're just watching everything blow up, and it's fun in itself. The last line was one that was really hard, and I don't think I did a very good job of this, actually, because the idea is that we didn't create it together. The joke is that, you know, you've killed everyone. There's nothing but bodies all around you, and you're gonna say that we did it together? We did it on the backs of all those Mugu that you just killed. So my take on it was that I'm happy to play it again if there's lots of requests for it, but I had the pleasure of working with a very talented voice actress. Her name's Trisha, and I'm just trying to pull up Trisha's work because I wanted to show you how much variation you can get when you go into a reading like this. And so this has got to go up here. All right. here. Come on. Close this one. We don't need that one. No. Playing dangerous. All right. So this is Audacity. I guess hands up in the chat for everybody who's using Audacity for their own indie games. But I have been sorting these, and so let's just scroll down and I'll show you a few different takes. So I'm pretty sure that these ones have been sorted now by like best to worst, essentially. And so Trisha gave us tons and tons of different versions of this, and if I show them to you, you'll hear some of the ideas. Oh, come on. All right, let's take it on another version. Open this one instead. Let's see if I can do V2. Okay. Right. Well, I'll see what I can do here. Technical difficulties. This one's got a great example here. Is that if we listen to this, what are you talking about here? Come on, guys. Did I break all of these connections by moving this around? Okay. No, I've got to relink all of my files. Check dependencies. What? Well, then something else has happened. All right, I'm sorry, guys, that I can't give you all of that. What I can do is I can close this down and I can show it to you in another way. So I'm going to pull up. So this is the version that we edited with Trisha in the first section.
If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work. Now, some of you might need to make sacrifices.
Oh, I can't wait. I gotta show you. I gotta just show it to you in a different way here, because it's really interesting to hear the different ways that she takes this. So I'm gonna do it anyway and open it up in Audacity. Well, there's your problem right there. The original file is gone. Okay, just stick with me while I deal with. Here it is. Let's put that back on the desktop, shall we? Okay. Open with Audacity. So here is Trisha's raw takes. Trisha did an amazing job in giving us lots of variation, and we will just zoom in on a bunch of it. So this is how we started. Whoa, that's blowing my eardrums out. Are you guys hearing that okay over there? I'll just maybe turn it down a little bit. But, I mean, the thing that's really amazing about Trisha is that she can give you different takes over and over and over again. She'll just do 3 Oh, can't hear anything. Okay. Well, so that isn't how I'll do it. Okay. But you could hear it in VLC. So I'll open it up there instead.
Second place again. Ah! If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work. Second
And take
place
2.
again. Gah! If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden.
And so eventually we came back. Now I'm guessing where I'm going here, but we came back to those lines after we had done a bunch of fun stuff. And at the end, she really got it. It was...
Just look at the math. Put together. Just look at the
Here we go. Okay.
masterpiece weave. Second place again. Gah! If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work. Second place again? Gah! If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work. Second place again? Gah! If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden.
So we got silly in there, and then the other thing that we tried to do was, you'll remember from the I'll take this off so you can see the script, and she tried to do a bunch of these like oops like you two kind of stuff. Here, get it.
Like you two. Oh, and most of you. Okay. That wasn't part of the plan. Oh, no. It's everywhere. Oh, no. Gosh, now it's everywhere. Oh, come on. It's everywhere. Oh, jeez, like you two. Come on. Oh, that. Okay, and most of you. Oh, that there wasn't part of the plan. Oh, jeez. Like you two. Oh. And most of you. Okay. That was not part of the plan. Now, some of you might...
So, those are some of the different variations that we get, and then we go through and start to cut together, all the best takes. And there are even some where I pulled out the like "gah" and put another "gah" in there that was even better for it. And so this is the first portion of it, and I'll scroll up so you can see where it is that she's doing it. So here it is.
Second place again. If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work. Now, some of you might need to make sacrifices.
That was what stuck it for me, because she turns evil right there. Some of you, how to do this sweetly, and then listen through it.
To make sacrifices.
Ooh, these are not going well. And then I loved as well that Trisha so we jump ahead and we go back to like a little more lava, and her cackle is amazing. And then the way that she sticks the landing on together is really just a treat to listen to. Or I'll play it for you.
Well, back to the drawing board. How about a little more lava this time, and something with teeth at the corner. I've never felt so alive! Just look at the masterpiece we've created together.
So that is part of the process, just getting that timing down and trying to get the right feel for the audio, and then we're starting to pull together shots. So what I can tell you is that we are getting to a point in our production where we've spent so much of the budget, we're trying to make everything that we can sort of work twice. And so we actually have a version of this, I'll see if I can pull it up, that, yeah, so where can I get this? Here, playlist. All right. So what I want to do is play this one, which uses audio. So we've got this section of music. Let me see if I can show you the music that we have. Music. Sorry, guys. I'm just pulling up. Good. Here we go. So this is Janelle Bechthold's great work, some of the music that she has created, and I mean, I love so many of it, and so we'll just play a couple of it. You can hear this kind of happy tone with this like grindy distortion behind it. Ooh, yeah. Kick that bass kicking in. So this is just Janelle playing around with concepts and different instrumentation. But what we realized was that was kind of too full on. It was really full on. And so we have a few other. This was the first ever music that got put to Terrorarium. Here we go. You know, this one might be a great option. Gosh, we're still trying to pick. Because this has got the bones that come in here. Yeah. And then you, like, this is just so distorted. And then the theremin pops in. You're not finding it too loud out there. Okay. So those were really exciting. But we also loved this one, and I'll play a bit of this one because it ended so like dramatically. As I'm listening to them, I'm really thinking Sketch 1 may need to have a new life. That is an amazing track. And so if I jump us ahead, I was trying to think of like what's happening in this trailer, because you're trying to jump back to the script and say, is this gonna match what we're trying to do? And I thought that it really did here at the back end, so I'll jump it ahead and think about the end of this. You hear this like bass coming in. like a trombone sort of sound almost. Anyway, so we picked that one, maybe incorrectly. I'm re-listening to sketch 1 being like, oh, that's pretty good. And then we also had this trailer music, and this was a full 1-minute cut that people might remember as being related to our first like Gears of War style video that we shot. And so we composed something specifically to try to match that tone. Much more somber, you can see. But then it picks up. Here it is. So what we did was we actually had Trisha's voice put with 2 of these songs. We chose 3 and the trailer music, and we have them here. So I will play them for you now. So this is a concept 3 played against the voice track of Trisha's trailer. Oh, and it's in the wrong screen. Come on. Sorry, folks. There we go. Here we are. So this is our first test.
Second place again. If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work. Now, some of you might need to make sacrifices. Like you two. Oh! And most of you. Oh, that there wasn't part of the plan. Back to the drawing board. How about a little more lava this time? And, something with teeth at the corner. I've never felt so alive! Just look at the masterpiece we've created. Together.
So there it is. It's your sneak preview of a trailer in the making. We had another version here that we used a totally different song. So we're going to play that one right back to back. Come on, don't open there. Open over here. Come on. Here we go.
Second place again. If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work. Now, some of you might need to make sacrifices. Like you two. Oh! And most of you. Oh, that there wasn't part of the plan. Back to the drawing board. How about a little more lava this time? And, something with teeth at the corner. I've never felt so alive! Just look at the masterpiece we've created. Together.
So those are 2 variations. You're welcome to weigh in on which you prefer. I have to make a decision, and I need to make it yesterday on what that would be. And so part of me is tempted to even shut down the audio on this and just play concept 1. So let me just pull that over. No need for you guys to see that one. And I'll play this video while I'm playing sketch 1.
Second place again.
Sorry guys, make it even quieter. It even changed pretty well on time there about where we needed to have a new space. So what I wanted to stress there is that, I mean, I think that actually works better, but I don't know yet. So what I am going to do is I'm going to critique this trailer. Now, I want you to know a few things. First of all, I am at fault for most of the creative. So anything that you don't like, you can blame on me because I asked talented people to do it. The other thing is that they were working off of only this. Only this was what they had. And so when it came to Trisha, like doing an incredible performance, and it came to our editor, Kat, who's doing an amazing job, all they're working with is just the text here. So like when you see steam coming out of the gardener's ears, that's because they just found that shot and put it where it was told to be. So as I'm just like ripping into this trailer, I want everybody to know that it is hurting me just as much as it hurts any of my comments. So I'm starting it off. So right away, I'm critical of even this beginning shot. The first frame of video is often taken as a still that you can use as a thumbnail, and we have nothing here. This is not a real picture. And so starting that first frame on something that we can see. So as I jump into it, I'm gonna say no. I mean, all of those like club coming towards me shots, all of those have to go. They're too much lead in because everything that I'm thinking about, and you can see here the counter on 2 seconds already. We're 2 seconds, and I gotta get to Murder Garden by 5 seconds. That's my whole goal here. And as I see we're losing a lot of shots that we don't need, because even here I can hear at least 2 notes of the piano that are being played before the line comes in. And whereas if you listen to what I was showing you on this cut here,
second place again.
That cut just jumps straight in. There's nothing to lead us into it except the word second place. And so that's what I need to do. I need to grab people in the first second and say, no, we're watching this video together here. So here we go, back up. Good. So that's my first note, is that we're gonna cut some of the opening audio, and we're gonna start probably right at that turn. So the first thing we're gonna see is this crazy shot, and then we're going to
Second
just turn around for the second place.
place again.
Now, I think that putting the ga and the steam together is actually too much, because now we're just thrust very quickly into only an angry gardener, and we don't get to really appreciate that ga sound. And so,
Again.
like, she's exasperated. She hasn't gotten completely blown her top yet.
If they can't appreciate my gardens,
And already we're into like some busy work that's happening where I'm like, well, this shot, I don't know if we need to put it here. I mean, we're leaning. I would prefer to stick with this shot here much longer, so that, because I believe the next shot that she has is that she actually sees some of the mugu, which I think is an interesting thing to like find the mugu underfoot and be like, what are those things? So then this steam coming out shot, this is the full build. Like, there's no up from there, and so Murder Garden is where that belongs. And so
again. If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden.
that's where the steam is going to come out of her ears, and all of this build up is like, this is precious seconds. We're at 9 seconds already, so we're too late, and so we have
again. If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden.
So if we cut the 2 seconds off the top, we're going to get this to about 7 seconds. And it's not 5, but it's darn close to 5. And those 20% people that drop in that first second, they might see something that captures them. But this is not a great moment to stick the landing. So when we're saying Murder Garden, we have to actually back it up by actually doing something quite visible.
See what they'll
visual.
think of a murder garden.
Because now we're just like standing around. So Murder Garden means stack blowing right here, and so that is what we're gonna do. Okay. So now I'm gonna keep going. Yeah.
If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden.
I think we're being too literal in the whistling scene because we just don't need it. We already are saying, come along.
Come along, my mushroom pets. It's time to get to work.
And I think that's where the gameplay starts. I think that actually Murder Garden is the last line in the spaceship. And so
Murder garden.
we're going to get Murder Garden, and then we're going to transition right into gameplay because people want to see gameplay in a trailer.
Garden.
And so, boom, we're in gameplay now. All of this is gameplay. Not gameplay of destruction, because we have to lead up to that destruction. So,
Come along, my mushroom
come along,
pets.
my mushroom
it's
pets.
time to get to
Those-
work.
That's going to be, the mushrooms are actually going to be following her around. She's actually going to be exploring the level at that point. Then we have this, which we can't do, which is that we fade out. Now, we've only got 1 minute, and so I know that we're transitioning from a spaceship. It's like we're beaming down to the planet, so to speak, to do the terrarium stuff, but we don't have time for fade out. And so all of this 18 seconds, we are probably only going to see 7 of it. So I'm cutting 11 seconds out of the video footage that's happening now. And then we're going to start getting into gameplay. Now, we've got tons of gameplay footage, but we just don't use it enough. Now, next comment on this is that we have kind of broken a cardinal rule of trailer capture, which is that we've got the UI right here in the capture. And so we actually built a build of this game so that we could turn off the UI specifically so that we could have gameplay that was full screen. And a lot of the people that give strategy about the way that you should have trailers is that you don't need to show like that we are currently using thick Mugu and we have our countdown timer, all right, and that we have one Mugu in our control. All of that stuff is really extraneous, and so we need to cut that off the screen so that people can focus on the visuals of the game. And one of the things that I am also commenting on is that we used to have a very, very nimble camera that used to push in and turn around, and you can see a bit of that here where, you know, we're zooming out, but when you play this game, it makes a lot of sense to play it in this like zoomed out format so that you can see a lot of the obstacles around you, but that's not the way the trailers need to be. The trailers need to be, and I can't really gesture, but I wish I could do it in the game, and to zoom down. If you see this rock right here, or this dark rock, I want the camera to be on that dark rock so that when we are seeing a gardener moving towards the Mugu for the first time, we can actually see them as characters, and we're more interested in the action than we are in the landscape. Because right now this, I don't know, I think you can see it. Yep, this whole thing, this is wasted real estate right here. Even I would argue this border right here is not great for trailers. And so you know, when I really look at it, I've only got, you know, if I were to try and draw a box, I mean, I'm drawing like a circle around what we really want to pay attention to, and it's just the center shot. So I'm gonna keep going. So right now we have long been into gameplay. You know, 11 seconds of gameplay has now occurred at this point, and
Come along, my mushroom
so
pets.
the mushroom
It's time
pets
to
are
get to
coming.
work.
They're getting to work. They're now, as they're walking along, playing through a level in a safe area, now she delivers her line to say, now some of you
might need to make
sacrifices. Now, the last thing I want to do is give the joke away at this point, right? Because this smash grass right here has just done something terrible. In fact, it looks like a really deadly dangerous level. This is not the right shot to put here because we're leading up to a gag, and the gag is that this is a beautiful walk in the garden. So we want it to be like an idyllic sort of safe garden location coming up to this, because she's saying, oh, by the way, some of you might have to make sacrifices. And even showing this prime specimen here, this is scary. This is not a good lead up to this gag. And so what we can do, you know, like these can be fine, these foreboding spikes. Again, we have the UI on screen and we have the angle wrong. We need to be in as close as we can possibly be when we're playing the trailer footage. So then
some of you might need to make sacrifices.
And that's too close. So you can hear sacrifices, right? So when she says sacrifices with her evil voice, this is where we have to have a moment. Now, you've heard me talking about cutting. This is where I actually want to add in space, because this space here is where we need to think about that. We need to go, wait a minute. Why did she say sacrifices in such a creepy way? That's not right. Something's not right. And we need to go through that whole thought process while we're watching gameplay footage. And hopefully that gameplay footage is getting more and more deadly. It's getting to a place where, like, you leave behind the idyllic ferns and you start to move, not too suddenly, but you move towards some like alien landscapes that you're not familiar with. And then that is where after we have lingered through that transition to say, wait a minute, all is not as it seems in this game, then we land on this line.
Like you two.
So right now the mix is not ideal because we're hearing a lot of music and we're not really hearing like, ooh, and you two. And that may not be the take that we want to use from her voice lines.
Like you two.
because that first one is one of just absolute surprise. That's the one that's gonna sell the game for me. Is that when she reacts that time, we need it to be the one that is actually her like shocked that the that two Mugu were smashed by that smash grass. And so when I go back to the VLC here, I'm gonna just see if I can look at the playlist. Window, playlist. There we go. I'm gonna pull the playlist over here. No, it won't let me do it. Okay, so just quickly, if I'm reviewing, like I want to find my favorite, like, ooh, and you two, you know? And so...
Second place again! Might need to make sacrifices. Oh, like you two. Oh, darn. Like you two. Ah! Ooh. Oh, darn. Like you two.
So what I did was we actually went off script and we started to go somewhere where we could actually, I think it was like, oh, it's everywhere was what the line that we were trying. And I actually found that her takes right afterwards had got her right into the spirit of the silliness.
Well, back to the drawing board. Oh, well, back to the drawing board. Well, back to the drawing board.
Yeah, 2 defeated.
Well, back to the drawing board. Ah, well, geez, back to the drawing board.
No.
Well, back to the drawing board.
It's a bit silly, but maybe.
Well, how about a little more lava this time?
Did I jump us too far back? Yeah. So
Some of you might need to make now. Some of you might need to make sacrifices. Now.
Okay, sacrifices, got it.
Now, some of you might need to make sacrifices. Oops. Like you two.
See, it wasn't enough surprise there. I'm looking for one. This is the feeling. I want to know that she's actually recoiled. I want her to go like, oh, like, ugh, and then like feel her tense up as she does it.
Oh dear. Oops. Ugh, like you two. Dear.
Because if she's too relaxed in this moment, it actually tells a story that she knew that death was going to happen. And that, I think, is too far for the grandmother to go. The gardener should not be in a state where she's walking her Mugu deliberately into death. She should be doing it knowing that there's risks and that she is willing to take those risks on their behalf, but she should not be able to predict it, because you as the player can't predict it. So I'm looking for a like, ooh, like a regret in that expression.
Most of you. Okay, that wasn't part of the plan. Believe me. Like you two. And most of you. Okay, that wasn't part of the plan.
Maybe.
I swear.
Maybe.
Like you two.
Good, but too long. Kind of stretched out.
And most of you.
That one could work.
Okay. That wasn't part of the plan. Oh, no. It's everywhere.
Okay. So these were fun,
No.
and they got her into the right headspace.
Now it's everywhere. Oh, come on. It's everywhere.
And then we go back.
Oh, jeez. Like you two.
Yes. So that was it.
Oh, come on. It's everywhere.
Not that. Here.
Oh, jeez. Like you two. Come on.
Right? So that's the voice I'm looking for, the one where she's reacting here. So, as we do that, I guess the time count there for the editor is 3 minutes and 6 seconds, and we go back into this video, which we're now picking apart with a fine-tooth comb because
Most of you.
these are the part where we're showcasing the gameplay, and we are like telling the humor of the game. And so
Like you two.
so like, oh, like you two, great, but then we need to like react to that, because that was a shock. It was meant to be a shock, and we need to be as close as possible to witness that shock. This shot looks much closer, but we've now come to realize, oh, there's real danger in this game, and the gardener seems to be okay with it.
Oh! And most of you.
So it may not be the right reaction, but this is the same premise, is that everything is just torching all around her, and she's just saying, oh, it might be some of you that are going to be sacrificed.
Oh, that there wasn't part of the plan.
That one's all right.
Back to the drawing.
And so now, like, I think she's got to die, actually. I think that there maybe is a moment here where it may give us the game over screen at this point.
Back to the drawing.
And then what I'd love to do is actually, the ideal is that we actually pull out of the level that we were just in. Like when she does
wasn't
this
part of the plan.
That wasn't part of the plan. And then she dies. And then back to the drawing board, and she goes in, and you can see here, this is like a rapid fire dismantling of a level, because she's not happy with how this level has been going, and so she is going to change it up. And so we're doing that, and then we have a moment to linger in maker mode and see how maker mode works. And
About a little more lava. This
so
time,
she's adding lava everywhere.
Something with teeth at the corner.
And then I just feel like the timing's not quite right on this, because she laughs before she sees what happens. She throws it, and a little explosion happens, but it's like a millisecond. If we wait to see like this turnip explode, I think it's going to be so much better.
I've never felt so alive! Just look at the masterpiece we've created.
Okay, so this shot needs some work, because...
Just look at the...
So, in this one, what I was hoping we would be doing was actually surveying this same level. Like, we would jump straight down into this level, and we would look around in a circle at the masterpiece of death and carnage that we had created. Now we cut instead to this other level, which is a really interesting level visually, to do this kind of like wraparound scene where we can see like a masterpiece. The problem that we have is that in our maker mode, we have this spawn point that is represented by a scarecrow. And you can see that we've got the gardener's head floating over a scarecrow. And it's just too complicated, because what we don't have is what I need. I need a group of Mugu. She needs to be standing up here with a group of Mugu around her, surveying this and talking about how they've done it together, because she needs to be speaking to somebody, and right now we don't have that shot. So it's also, you might notice, a shot that has a lot of UI in it, because we're in the maker mode. And so it's got all of this over here on the left, and these icons over here. And again, that's just not something we need in a trailer. Now, we could just crop it out and just punch in on this, but right now this shot isn't right because we've got this maker mode scarecrow right there. Then,
The masterpiece we've created. Together.
and then we need a bit of a break, right? Because you can't just cut from a joke instantly. And so, she's got to have her line, and I'll try to time it here. It's like,
Masterpiece we've created. Together.
boom. That should be where the screen shows up, not it's a lot earlier than it should be. We're still adding in a sound effect to have like a whump sound that happens when these happen. These are going to come in like as if they're coming in like over your head and land like phew. And yes, it's great that we're using the font of Terrorarium, but I think we need to give it some more, even some like, I think we need a line break here. Build and share your own line break murder garden so that we have more of a sort of square image. It's going to have to be bigger on screen because we want it to fill that screen a little more. And this is one that it's a controversial one because I think that build and share your own murder gardens is a great line. This one is that we know that we already can build and share your own levels, and so we want to change this because I think that saying community made levels is not giving service to how good our community made levels are. I think that we have a full-on story campaign to begin with, and we have some of the best levels that we've got through the contest included. And so yes, this is a true statement. There are hundreds of community made levels, but I don't think that this is the right sales pitch to be making at this point, because I think that it sort of makes it feel like the only thing in this game are community made levels, and I think that we deserve more in that. So I will show you that, and we end with this shot. I think this shot's great. I mean, this overlay is not what we need, but it gives us a great word mark at the end. The logos I think are too much. Right now I think that I would bring them all down like to half of their current size so that we really do focus on the Steam logo and Terrararium, and I would cut the date because we want this to last for 100 years, and there's no interest that we have at this point in showing anybody a date of when this game is launching. We want this trailer to continue to live on to promote itself for lots of other people. So that is my like deep dive into the Terrararium trailer that we are working on right now. I have a version that I can pull up actually that one of our team was saying, hey, we can try this a different way, and I think he did a great job of showing it. So I'm just going to download this right now, and you're going to see differences. Now, this is a very rough cut because this is a rough cut directly made from the editor's cut. So it's just cutting together the different things that we've already put in there. And so it's not the raw footage. So as a result, it's going to be a little bit rough around the edges, but I think it's worth trying out just so that you can see how we try to make decisions. Okay, open it in VLC.
Second place again. If they can't appreciate my gardens, let's see what they'll think of a murder garden. Now, some of you might need to make sacrifices. Like you two. Oh!
So what you can see has been done in this cut is that, first of all, we got out of the spaceship much earlier without any fading out at all. You can see if we were doing it here, where are we?
Our garden.
Oh, I would have gone on even earlier. Oh, it's because the time code is actually burned into the video, and so when Adam is cutting this, he's cutting chunks out of it, and so you can see he's cut 9 seconds, the same spot that I've cut those 9 seconds to say we gotta get out of that into gameplay.
Some of you might need to make.
Now it's a lot of rough, like a lot of jump cuts happening, but then after we smash some people, we hit a title card, and that's really interesting because it allows you the time to react to the joke, to say like, oh, you two, and be like, did I just see some Mugo get murdered? And then it's like, oh, build and share your own murder gardens. Okay, so now I've got an opening there. Here we are.
Oh!
and then you can see he's done it again. So after another reaction, a gag, we're now putting in another screen, and that's a really interesting way to stick the landing on, like, talking about these and giving the humor some time to breathe.
To you. Oh, that there wasn't part of the plan.
And you can see, well, maybe it's the same.
Back to the drawing board. How about a little more lava this time? And, something with teeth at the corner.
So again, Adam's done the same thing of delaying that cackle until everything starts lighting up and the whole chain reaction hits. I might have put it just a little bit earlier, but I think it's really this second tier up here that makes the decision for me, is that when that second level lights,
Something with teeth at
I
the
think
corner.
it's like, oh yeah.
I've never felt so alive!
And there we go. So that's just an alternate cut, a third version of what we already have like 6 versions of. So that is how we are doing in the trailer. I feel like I haven't heard from you guys watching very much, and so I wanted to like open it up and say, if you want to talk about the trailer, we can talk about it. I can also talk about what we're doing with our advertising, because that I think is an interesting thing. I have much more that I want to talk about Steam, but I am worried that I may get too derailed if I go through all of that. Well, so what I will show you is that we have that launch trailer that you saw here, and we have been running it in advertisements. You can see just in the last 30 days, we have had almost 200,000 impressions. Now, a lot of them disappear, as you can see. Less than half of those, so like 100,000, are even just at the 8-second mark. And so, do they even know what this is, or is this just an annoying ad that's coming to them? But we are targeting a bunch of different things that people might be seeing. So let me show you, I think it's in here. It might be search. So over different weeks, we have been trying to do different campaigns. And so, is it search? It's going to be, nope, I'm going to stick with this. Okay, so what I want to do is show you some of this, the data that we're getting, which is that when somebody searches on YouTube for the word PC game, that means that they get marked as somebody who might be interested in watching the Terrararium trailer. And so we make sure to put the Terrararium trailer in the next video that they watch. It becomes one of those pre-roll advertisements. And that trailer that you saw is what we're using at this moment. And I have some issues about that. So we started out in our week 1, but you can see here that there's a bunch of different stats. Impressions is simply how many times this video ever appeared. And so if we look, we can see that we sort, and PC game is actually one of the top, is that many people type in the words PC game when they're looking for things on YouTube. Now, it doesn't cost us very much to have somebody view this, in that, you can see we're spending here $247, and every 2 cents of that money, we're getting somebody to look at this ad. But the problem that I have with it is that measuring on how many people see an advertisement is a terrible metric for what we're trying to do, because we don't want to target people who are looking at it. We want to target people who are clicking on it. We want to, and I'm going to try to flip us over here to clicks and CTR. I want to add those in. So when we start scrolling over here, we can see that we got, out of 30,000 impressions, we got 117 people who clicked on it. And what that comes down to is 117 divided by 30,000 is 0.39. Now, what that means is that for every time that we spend 2 cents, we have 0.39% of a chance that we are going to get somebody who is interested enough to click through and check out what our game is and visit the Steam page and then potentially buy. And if we just automatically say it's a guaranteed 10-to-1 ratio of people who are interested enough to look at it versus people who might buy or wish list. So we automatically have to divide any number that we see in this CTR by 10. So this is 0.039 that we get. And so 0.04, rounding it up, is like what we probably are thinking about in our conversion rate. So when we spend the money, we want to be looking at this CTR rate. So you can see here, we're spending 3 cents for every one of our show, that every time we're showing this ad, but we're getting almost double actually it is double the click-through rate. And it's just something ludicrous like this. Look, PC game versus PC game? What the heck is going on that like capital letters is deciding double our interaction rate? That's insane. And so we want to start looking for outliers, because we want to actually I'm going to get it up here to, it's interesting because we have way more keywords than this. So I'm going to just go into our campaigns, and yeah, so we've got different campaigns and you can see lots of different things. So I'm just interested to know if we, here, we'll look at like show rows 3,000 keywords that we're talking about. So here, as we're showing it, there's 254. So let's show all 500 keywords, okay, on one screen. So what we want to do is we want to get over here to CTR. We want to sort this by the best CTR. Come on. Sort it properly here. All but removed. So our average, this is showing us our average amount of click-through rates. Our average number is 0.57. But look at this. When somebody types in platformer, when they're looking for platformer on YouTube, they are going to click through. Do you see how much? This is like 22 times more effective. This is unbelievable compared to our average. And it's because we're eating up. If you look at the impressions, we're eating up out of the 100, like almost 200,000 impressions. If you just add together PC game and PC game, that's 40,000. That's 1/5 of the whole 200,000 that we've just spent on that. And so we're learning, and we're doing it in smaller increments right now. But like platformer, people know what they're looking for when they want to buy a platformer. When people are looking for good Steam games, look at this, games like Roblox, Mischief games, now they have dramatically lower impressions, which is why they overrepresent so much when you get one click. If you can get 1 out of 13 people, nobody writes games like Roblox. They write PC games when they're looking. But we don't want to get mixed up with the same people who are advertising with like Assassin's Creed Valhalla or something, because that's the kind of demographic that can be looking at something as vague as PC games. And so what we're wanting to pay attention to is everything that is above our average. And we're looking through this, and we saw something early on when we put in, I think we put in weird games, and it ended up doing very well in a first round. So we started brainstorming like mischief games, wacky games, strange games, and you can see all of those ones are overperforming. Right, nobody types in strange games. I mean, 147 people were shown this advertisement, but 4 of them clicked on it, and that is so much better than our average of 0.57, that we can actually see a huge benefit in trying to get our demographic right. Sandbox game has got great show. So all of these terms, weird games, things like that, if we start to go way down and you know, we go below our average, we scroll down, and now we're into like the dregs. And so you can see like games for kids is not what we want to be doing, because when people see this ad, they don't click it. We show it to tons and tons of people who play games for kids, but they don't click on the ads. And our worst performing ones are not these zeros because they have no data behind them. But if we get down here, like adventure game, this is definitely not an adventure game. We should not be running this ad. And so we have to like pause that term. And this one blows me away. Maker games has a terrible uptake. What does that even mean? Uh-oh. Because we have been using the phrase maker mode through our whole campaign, and now we need to really reevaluate. And you can see Steam games. Wow, these are a wake-up call, because these are getting a ton of our impressions. They're eating up a good portion of our impressions, but they're not delivering us the clicks that we want. Like, people see puzzle games a lot, but they don't decide to check us out. The other thing that we are not doing yet, which we need to start doing, is that we have this one ad. So we only have, these are other seasons that we have been running of other things, and you can see they're zeroed out. But this video is our only video. Of the impressions, 194, all of them are for this video. We've already said that this video has problems, which is that it doesn't do things the way that we hoped. It kind of has a slow start, no dialogue. It doesn't explain what it is. It just shows you a bunch of mushrooms and some fun footage, and then that's it, July 28th. And so you don't really know what it is to pique people's interest. If you can tell, I'm overheating because the air conditioning can't be run in this attic while I'm doing this voiceover stuff. So as a result, we have a ton of other videos, and I have uploaded those videos to our YouTube channel. Now, right now, they're all hidden behind the scenes. But if we look at one of them, like, let's just play one of them here. This is actually just a homebrew video that Adam, our game designer, made for us to just talk about. Here it is.
What's up, team? This is Adam. I'm one of the game designers on Terrorarium. I'm here with another Maker Mode video. Today we're talking about Mugu breeding grounds. Now, your Mugu are pretty unruly, and so when you set down these Mugu skulls, you can adjust exactly how many Mugu are going to pop out. When these little guys smell those grounds, they make a run for it, and they're pretty randy. So as you can see, that once they touch it, they pop out. So this can get pretty out of control pretty fast, and so you have to make sure that you're managing your swarm. You have to make sure that you're controlling these little guys, because if you let them get ahead of you, they're gonna make it very difficult to finish your levels. So my name's Adam. I'm one of the game designers on Terrararium. This has been another Terrararium Maker Mode video, so get out there and control those little buggers. See you next time.
It's fun. It's a fun video. And it says way more about the game than the trailer that we're currently running. And I think it would outperform in the click rates. I think if somebody was searching for weird games and they got this and they were like, oh, this looks very weird, they would be suddenly like having a connection with us and would be seeing something unusual that's not the standard advertisement. And so I am planning right after this video to load these into our ad campaign. And I'm probably also going to do something crazy and load some of our like streams into the ad campaign. And the reason is because when we do our analytics on, you know, what's working, we can compare. Right now we have nothing to compare with. We have one video in our ad campaign, and we could have 50. We already have those videos here, and we don't take advantage of them. And so I'm not saying that this is going to be converting better, but I'm saying that we don't know. And just the same way that when we're looking at our keywords or our demographics, we're trying to sort of understand who our audience is by watching their click-through rates and saying, okay, this game is not for this, which is a totally different amount of these are all not for even this campaign. But the point is that those search terms have come up as, you know, ones that we don't even want to try. So when we look at some of these great ones, they show us that, okay, we do want to keep targeting these and spending our money, because when you look at how much money we've spent. We've spent $2,000 at this point trying to get people to click on our video, just on this video alone, which is, to me, too many. But our top performing one cost us 6 cents, 10 cents, 17 cents. Our money's going in the wrong place. Our money's going towards, and you can look at it here where we spend all our money. We're spending our money on puzzle game. We're spending our money on PC game. We're spending our money on, again, PC game, which has like averages that are pulling us down. And so these terms need to go away immediately, because they are already hurting our credibility when it comes to the way that we are targeting our audience. So that is some of the like ways that we are doing this, and I can show you as a finale. Does anybody want to see what that's looking like in our Steam stats? Or otherwise, the fact that I'm boiling to death here in the attic might mean that it's time for me to actually take a break and spend all of my time in a future stream actually unpacking our Steam stats and looking more and more at the way that we're planning the next week ahead. So that's good. That's good. I'm going to keep that one going. But this one, I think we decided was no good because it was giving us poor click-through rates. Yep. So that one's gone. Pausing that. Pausing these ones because they're old. And we're just going to leave this one running. And we're trying to maximize conversions, but we're working on how to create better conversions throughout this. So, Gaming Tiger is my #1 fan out there, and is giving me the fact that I look like I'm roasting up here in the streaming zone. Maybe next time it'll be a bit cooler on the day, but that walks you through some of the stuff that we're prepping for launch, some of the ways that we have been getting a trailer together, and some of the thinking that we're trying to do to get this running. So, thank you, everybody. We're gonna see you a lot as we get this whole game up and running, and I really appreciate you joining us for today's stream. And stay tuned, because there's so much more. You've seen a bit of sneak preview of the way the new game is going to look, and now when you see the finished trailer, you will know how much work went into it. Thanks again.